Hey everyone, it's David at New Meta. We've got Ricky here from the Plunderlings line that you might be familiar with. And we're just going to talk today about toys and how his line started and all things Plunderlings. So we'll just get into it.
Do Plunderlings have penises or something? I don't know, maybe not that, but
They do have butts, right? Like that's
They
the
don't. I
one
mean,
thing.
yeah. I mean, yeah. They have. There's a couple ones that are naked, and there's nothing there really.
That's funny.
Officially, they lay eggs since they have
Officially?
hatchlings.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So they're egg layers, and so
So I guess, yeah, we'll start with that.
think about it.
Ricky, I think the question on everybody's mind right now is why did you have to give Plunderlings such beautiful butts?
The butt actually took us a long time to get right. I was trying. I wanted it to be a fun, cute looking butt. I might have gone too far in a few places, but that was what I was going for. I was trying to make a butt that was kind of a bit cheeky, if you will.
Yeah.
I've never even looked at the butts before.
Yeah, I could just see you evaluating all different types of butts. How do I do this? Let's get the perfect. Yeah,
The research.
yeah. Which is funny because my kids always pick them up and they love them. So like I always get excited when they want to open one up because the first thing they always point out, they're like, "Dad, look, butt." I'm like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
My pleasure.
So where did the idea come from? Like, did you think about this for a while? Was this something you had in your mind for a long time, or how did Plunderlings get started?
Lone Coconut was originally an animation studio in the Dominican Republic, and so we were working on trying to pitch like an original show idea. And the idea came from basically taking a fantasy universe but making it very tropical, since a lot of fantasy universes are very European. They're always very they take place in castles and with dragons, and so the idea was to make a fun tropical universe where instead of dragons we have giant iguanas, or instead of knights we have pirates, and yeah, so that's where the incentive, or like where the initial creation came from. But after pitching the show for a while, not really making too much traction with it, I saw what Spiro did with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, that he was able to kind of like skip the whole entertainment part and just go straight to the toys. And if I'm being honest with myself, the bigger reason why I was excited about Plunderlings was the idea of making toys for it. And so the fact that I could just skip the whole show part and just go straight to the toys seemed like an amazing possibility. And so we eventually launched a Kickstarter after getting the word out there.
Sorry, does that mean that there's going to be a Plunderlings show coming soon?
Not coming soon. No, I still have the pitch deck. I still have the pitch deck that we were showing around at the time. But I feel like the idea's even evolved a lot through the toy line.
Were there other? So you mentioned Sparrow, but were there other influences you had, like for the line, or anything from pop culture even that helped you kind of along that path?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've always loved. I mean, I'm a toy collector, but when I was a kid, I always loved non-human toys. I always thought humans in general were kind of boring. Like, I thought that the creature stuff was cooler, like the Ninja Turtles, the gargoyles, all things like that. I found very inspiring as a kid, and those were always my favorite characters. And so when I had the chance to try to build something new, I took humans out of the equation completely. So it's just a world full of monsters, and that's all I'm interested in designing, to be honest. Like I feel like we have so many human bucks. I find it more interesting to be able to like work on silhouettes that stand out with strange proportions. I find all that stuff much more exciting.
Speaking of designs and everything, like looking at all of the Plunderlings, Longs, Strongs, Beaks, you're sculpting monsters and you like to sculpt monsters, but these are by far the cutest action figures I've ever seen. Even in their like angry faces, I'm just like, oh, he's so mad. Like, what was kind of the inspiration of doing that versus like more like scary gremlins, or because I feel like that's more how they're depicted in most like fantasy stuff.
Well, to give sculpting credit, I have to give it to Sebadome from Planetary Dogs. He's the one who did all the sculpting. But in terms of, for each kind of character, or like the Plunderling, the Plunderlong, Plunderstrong, I decided it was just trying to capture like a single emotion with them as much as I could. So I feel like the Plunderlings are just happy. And so I wanted to capture that sort of cute, happy, mischievous feel for them. We did go through some scarier versions, but it just didn't feel right. I felt like these guys are just having a good time making other people have a bad time, And so that's why all the heads are pretty happy. With the Plunderstrong, I was trying to capture more kind of grumpiness and anger. And as weird as it sounds with the Plunderlong, I was trying to capture a feeling of a kind of sadness, which is kind of weird. And I think that maybe that was kind of I understand why people don't want necessarily sad toys, but even in the smiling faces, there's kind of like, there's sadness behind the eyes.
Anguish.
Like a discomfort almost.
Exactly, yeah. I just thought it'd be funny to just make a sad character, kind of like Eeyore, or like just someone who's like struggling. Maybe I was doing some projection there, but I get that a lot of people don't necessarily like the Plunderlong, and I get why. I get not everyone wants a sad toy. I just thought it was funny to have that.
You don't
emotion.
like that mirror held up to them.
Exactly. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe I was trying to get something out of my own system. I don't know.
So you mentioned that you are a toy collector. So do you have, outside of Plunderlings, of course, like your own lines that you show favoritism towards right now?
I'm pretty eclectic. Again, I'm more drawn to certain creatures or characters. So like, I'll just pick up like thank God I'm not a completionist, because I already have way too much toys. So I'll just jump around different lines. But I recently have started to get into more vintage stuff, which is kind of terrible because of how expensive it is, and also I'm not the type of person who just keep it on a shelf. I like playing with them. So like right now, even I have this Chogokin gold bat figure that's he's made out of die cast, and I started buying those. But again, my excuse is that I'm doing research for future lines. But yeah, so I also got a lot of GoBots and vintage turtles. With Hasbro stuff, I'll get again. It's just like if there's a character I like I don't know, like General Grievous from Black Sea, like I'll just get that one character because I think they have like an interesting look or an interesting body. So Mafex, I love Mafex too. I think their stuff is great, and Jada, stuff like that. But I can't point to a specific line that I'm trying to complete.
When you started the indie line, when you came up with the idea for Plunderlings, and like now that you're kind of through the process, you're releasing different lines, looking back, is there any advice you would have given yourself to do differently or to maybe take a different approach?
Yeah, no, I made all the mistakes I think you could have possibly made. That's why I'm always happy to help out other indie creators trying to make stuff, because hopefully they can avoid some of the stuff that I did. Yeah, it would honestly be too much to count, but it's hard. It's hard to make a toy, but but that's kind of life. Making anything decent is hard. I would definitely suggest going to the factory. I didn't go to the factory initially, but I think visiting the factory helps a lot. And also, there's a lot of decisions when it comes to sculpting about like reusing and stuff like that. That some of the things you're tying yourself down to might be limiting yourself in the future. And so that's something that I was pretty good at. I try to keep everything maximally compatible, but not having envisioned the line as far as maybe I could have. Now I'm being kind of forced to continue with certain compatibility stuff that makes it harder to do new stuff.
Is there a particular character that you've ever created that you did not end up putting into production that you regret?
We had a couple of stretch goals on the Kickstarters that we didn't make, and I always want to make them all. That's talking about lessons learned. I think one of the biggest things I should have done was not make as many SKUs, as many figures as I made, because again, being more of a collector and creative, I want to make as many as possible. I want to make them all. Like I want to make mine, and I just happen to have to sell a couple thousand extra. Like I'm making more for myself than anything. So I regret all the stretch goals that we haven't met, but a better lesson I wish I had known was just to focus on a smaller set of characters.
That's kind of an interesting thing, because I have customers that will come in here and they'll see the Plunderlings and they know nothing about Plunderlings, but the fact that there's like almost one in every color, really, I've noticed like really appeals to people. And it's like, I don't know anything about this, but like I need a purple one. Like I've got a blue one, I have to have a purple one. Like there's no like character connection necessarily. It's like this just looks good, like with the other ones I have. So I appreciate the amount that you have already and the variety, because I think that's a lot of fun.
I like them too. If it was for me, I would make way more. But just everything gets harder as you add SKUs, from the logistics of following up with all the different prototypes and the test shots and the painting, and then the MOQs are much kind of balloon, because you have to order a minimum quantity of each of them, even if certain ones didn't sell as well. Then the storage, like it's just it's exponentially. It doesn't become twice as hard to do too. I feel it's exponentially harder to do 30 different figures than it is to maybe just focus on 15.
Looking forward now, I mean, you've kind of showed those like the big iguanas. I think that was at Legion's Con, maybe. Are those coming soon, or what do we have? If you can say, what's on the horizon for the Plunder Planet?
I'm hoping that next year we launch another Kickstarter. That's what I'm working towards. So the iguana would probably be a stretch goal. I'm early next year, so it's not that far out. And the iguanagon could be a stretch goal. Honestly, I got a little bit too ambitious with the iguanagon in terms of the size and the amount of tooling it would require. I do want to make it. I want to make it desperately, but I got to make sure the numbers are there to back that up. And the Four Horsemen were the ones who actually sculpted it, so shout out to them. They did an awesome job. I just gave them a couple sketches and stuff like that, and they really, really, hit it out of the park.
I'm excited to see it because in one of David's other videos that we were doing, we were trying to guess like because there's Plunderbeaks and frogs, what could be next, like Plunder bunnies or Plunder.
Plunder parents,
The Plunder
dad, Plunder moms.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you got close. I mean, I don't think it's a big secret, but the big thing that I want to, maybe this would be kind of a reveal, but I'll go ahead and say it. I'll give it to you guys. Next, I would like to expand the line into having female Plunderlings and Plunderlongs and Plunderstrongs as well, because I feel like they're definitely missing from the roster. That's likely what the next Kickstarter will be focused on. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't like saying because then people are gonna get lots of messages asking when's it gonna happen. I'm working on it. That's what I would like to do next.
I hadn't even thought about the fact that I always kind of viewed each Plunderling as like sexually ambiguous, like they're all just kind of their own thing, right?
Yeah.
If we can expand on that, this can all be wildly speculated, so folks don't come at any of us if things change in the future. Is it going to be like a starting with a Plunderling, Plunder Ladies Ling Kickstarter, and then we move on to longs, or will it be kind of one of each?
That's what that's the part that I'm still working on to figure out what's the best way to roll it out. And even the names, we've been debating like Plunder Lass and different stuff like that. But we would like to eventually also have those like 3 different body types. Just not sure where we're going to start with. And the Plunderstrong would be an ambitious one as well. So
as you were saying that, I was like, I think I want a Plunderstrong lady the most.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that we might have to hold off. Well, let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't want to get into that.
Sure.
Because I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do yet.
Is there a design? I'm sure Plunderlings are probably the most, sought after versions of your entire line. But is there a particular one that you've noticed is doing better than all the others, like Zombone or any of the other Plunderlings or Plunderfrogs? I noticed are really popular.
Yeah, Goyle was has always been kind of a fan favorite. I get it. He's like a rogue goblin, and so that's it's a pretty good combination from the Plunderlings. But the Plunderfrogs really surprised me. I was really worried about them because they're kind of bizarre. Like they're kind of a frog, but they have a tadpole head and they have 4 arms. And like I wasn't really sure if people were going to like them at all. And they've actually been the best sellers. So we're totally out of that purple one that you have, David. And
the new meta exclusive one, you mean? Yeah.
I think they're only available on new meta and a couple shops, but I don't have any anymore myself.
Oh, seriously?
And so that was an unexpected surprise. I was really kind of nervous about those, because I feel like even the birds had more of a connection to like fantasy tropes, because there's kind of like these avian things from D&D.
Right.
But the birds, people really like the frogs, and I get it, they're cute. I'm glad people like them. I like them too. But that was kind of a big surprise to me that people gravitated toward the frogs.
Yeah, the frogs have done really well for me personally. I was actually thinking this morning, like, I need to get more frogs here soon because I think I'm out of maybe 1 or 2 of them. But now that I know that I can't get any more of the purple one,
I might not be able to help you.
And the birds have been interesting because I love this one. Like, this is my favorite. I always feel like whatever my favorite is should be everybody else's favorite. But everybody wants Corvo, the dark one, right?
One, yeah.
Everybody wants that one. Nobody wants this one as much. Like, a few people, my friends, they People
I
like
like the
me.
green one too. Not trying to pick favorites, but I think the green one's really fun.
I try to have a favorite from like each size variation, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
is this is my son's favorite. He likes Zombone. He just
Zombone's
yells for
awesome.
Zombone around the house, and then
Hmm.
he sleeps with this one. So I had to steal it from him. It stays in bed with him, along with like 30 other toys. So don't get too ahead of
That,
yourself. Like,
I say I live in a bus and like travel around, so like I have like almost no room for display, but I have one figure on display, and it's Captain Teal. So he's permanently
awesome.
on our shelf as we travel. So
That's an honor. Thank you. Yeah, I think Teal is kind of like the hero character, if you will. Yeah, in our original pitch, Teal was the protagonist. So that's cool that you have him.
yeah, he was the only one I had for a long time, and I only had one Plunderling, and I think this is still true. I think that is my number one favorite figure in my whole collection. Like the personality is like it just comes across so well with all the different heads, and then the posability and being such a little creature is so good, and they're just too much fun.
Well, that's an honor. Thank you. Yeah, fun was always the guiding star for all the decisions. 'Cause you have to make a lot of decisions when you're making a toy. You know, there's like everything from the how much articulation it should have, what the box should be like, the paints, the Pantones, the paint apps. For me, the question always boiled down to what's the most fun decision, you know, because even the price point, because, you know, it's hard with an indie line to keep the price lower, but I really tried to keep as low as I could. I have a lot of them, but there is something that's less fun about them because I have to treat them carefully, you know. And that was another aspect that we tried to be able to accomplish as well.
How do you think about like trying to get collectors to want to collect more of them? Because like I said, I had Captain Teal for a long time, and I always wanted more, but I never felt necessarily that like I have to have all of these type of feelings like sometimes maybe I get with Mythic Legions or other things. But I was just like, this one figure is so perfect, like I'm happy with this, but also like I have all these other ones now too, and it's fun. But like, how do you think about that as the person trying to get more of these into hands, like army build these type of characters?
Yeah, honestly, I probably don't think about that as much as I should. I'm glad that you found a toy that you like, and you know, don't necessarily need to keep going or upgrade it or anything like that. What I will say, you know, like I'm hoping if we do get a story out there, you know, maybe people will be more drawn to certain characters and want to expand their line. But the feeling that I'm going for, which is kind of a little bit of a contradiction, that the fact that we're selling to collectors an original IP is a little bit of an uphill battle, because most collectors want to re-experience, or I won't say most, a lot of collectors want to re-experience the properties they owned as children. And so I feel like I'm really kind of going against the grain, and so are a couple other original IP stuff, by, you know, pitching a new idea. But the nostalgic feeling that I'm hoping to capture was that feeling that I had when I would go into Toys R Us and just see a really cool toy, have no idea what it was from, but be drawn to it because it was just so appealing, and then be sucked into maybe a bigger world, or maybe not, maybe it just stays as a toy. But that's the nostalgic feeling I'm hoping to capture, that buying something that you already know can't quite capture. You know, that feeling of intrigue, of like, this is like a precious discovery. This is sort of like a shape that appeals to me or speaks to me, or that's fun to hold, and that's new, you know. And maybe that's part of the reason why, David, maybe your kids like it too and stuff like that, because it is something that you guys are experiencing being new together, rather than you having an experience of a toy that you had as a kid, trying to get them to relive that experience with you for the second time. This is something that you can live together for the first time. And I hope that there's value there too.
yeah, no, it was exciting. I try not to. I obviously run a toy store. I have everything is accessible to me, and it's really hard not to open everything, and I don't. I'm actually very good about not getting my hands on every single toy that comes in.
Yeah.
I know. But when I, like, every now and then, like, I'll reward my kids, like, you know, if they get good grades on something, like, all right, you can pick out a toy. And so, like, whenever they pick out something I want them to pick out, I get really excited. 'Cause I'm like, yes, I, like, have an excuse to open something. So when they got on a Plunderlings kick for a while, I was like, hell yeah, like, let's open some of these up. And they picked out
That's
some
awesome.
fun ones. But I think,
Yeah.
I'm sure as you've seen, like when you're doing this line, it's not without a little bit of, I'm sure you've received like criticism and critiques in some regards. And I do have one, and I think everybody is probably on the same page as me. Why does the Plunderfrog box not have a tongue? That's
There's a
maybe
tiny
the
tongue
biggest
down there.
miss. I mean, but it doesn't, everything else, you got the ears,
Oh
the
yeah. Oh, you mean, oh,
wings.
why didn't I put stuff on the side?
Why did you put like a tongue that sticks out the front or
Oh
something? Like
man, that
give me
I
the
didn't
like
think
the
of it.
ear.
Yeah, the one thing I was debating putting on it was like 4 arms on the side,
Yeah.
Oh
but
yeah, that could work.
that was the one thing that I was going back and forth on. But at the same time, it's supposed to be their head, and they don't have anything on their head. And those ears, like my original idea was the packaging would have the ears already attached, so that like my
Okay.
hope was that at retail it would just take up a lot of space and people would be like, "What the hell is this thing?" You know. But I quickly found out that the ears get destroyed no matter how we put them on. So then they became in the box. Yeah, sorry. That would have been a good idea. It didn't occur to me to have a removable tongue. I'll contact you next time I put something out there
Yeah,
to see
please
it.
do. Any other like box advice you need? Yeah, I'm here always. So Ricky, do you plan on being at Legions Con this year?
Yeah, we'll be at Legion's Con. We'll have a booth, and hopefully have some new exciting stuff to show there. But yeah, I'm always
Oh,
excited to go to Legion's Con.
I will be at Legions Con this coming year, and I believe it's in November. I might be doing something a little fun and out of the box with Four Horsemen, so that could be exciting. So hope everybody stay tuned. Be probably announcing more about that here soon.
This does seem like the golden age of Kickstarter, brand new action figures coming out. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because it seems like people are hungry for that original stuff, but is it because, like you said, there's 9 to 5 Warriors. We just had the Corsair Creations. Von Berg didn't quite make his. Even Shartimus didn't make his Kickstarter a few years ago. Does that add more stress, or how do you feel about kind of all of the Kickstarters coming around now?
No, I think it's awesome. I mean, and the fact that there's like an indie toy genre at all is kind of like a new miracle. You know, like that
Mm-hmm.
was never available before. You know, you always had to go through massive companies to be able to manufacture things at scale. And so I kind of compare it. I studied film, but when the digital camera started coming out and we started seeing more and more indie films, I think the film landscape changed. You know, some might say there's some things that got worse. I think it did maybe make Hollywood and those bigger production companies be more risk averse to do something too different, because then they're competing with a film that costs a fraction of the budget. And it was better to just make the type of films that someone else could make, which is Marvel and all the, you know, like no one else can afford to make those sort of movies. But at the same time, there was kind of a wonderful renaissance of independent films, and lots of new interesting movies came out and are coming out thanks to the fact that that production costs dropped as much as they did. And I'm hoping that we have sort of a similar renaissance for indie toys, that we start getting lots of variety and lots of things that people honestly wouldn't have taken a chance on before. I think that's the biggest thing, that you can have the indie companies can be a little bit less risk averse.
Speaking of like those bigger companies and stuff, do you have ambitions of ending up on Target and Walmart shelves? I mean, you're on New Meta shelves right now, but do you want to expand past that? Because I know like we've talked to Mythic Legions and they're like, we don't want to be on Target or Walmart shelves.
My goal is to get them in as many hands as possible. You know, right now I'm very grateful and happy with the distribution that we have, like New Meta. But I'm if we can get them to even more people, great. Because again, the biggest thing with the indie lines is that it's getting them in front of new eyeballs. I'm glad with the word of mouth, but that's a certain, you know, we have a certain community that's only so large, and word of mouth can only go so far. So I'm always interested in trying to figure out how to get them in front of new people who might like them. But I don't think we're at the scale to have Target or anything like that right now, for a lot of reasons. Because a lot of their terms, I understand, are pretty aggressive because of the market share they command.
All right, guys, that was Ricky from Plunderlings. You can get your Plunderlings at New Meta. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.